Chances are you've got a bag of diatomaceous earth somewhere. Maybe in the garage, maybe shoved under the sink, maybe in the back of a cabinet you haven't opened since last summer. And if you've like most of the people who buy it, you picked it up for one specific reason: bugs. And that was basically it. But that bag is doing almost nothing for you right now, because what diatomaceous earth can actually do around your house, in your garden, for your pets, and even for your own body is something the companies selling you $40 specialty products are counting on you never figuring out. I've been using this stuff for years, and it took me way too long to realize I was sitting on one of the most useful things in my home. So today we're counting down 17 ways to use it. And the one at the very end caught me completely off guard the first time I heard about it. Before we get into it, if you're the kind of person who likes knowing there's a smarter, cheaper way to handle everyday problems, go ahead and hit subscribe. This channel is exactly that, week after week. And while you're down there in the comments, tell me, are you already using diatomaceous earth for something, or is this your first time really looking into it? I'd love to know where you're starting from. Now, one thing you need to know before anything else. There are two types of diatomaceous earth, food grade and filter grade. Filter grade is used in pool filtration systems, and it is not safe for people, pets, or anything living. Food grade is what we're talking about for almost everything on this list. When you're buying it, make sure the bag says food grade. That one detail matters more than anything else I'm going to tell you today. All right, let's get into it. Benefit number 17, pantry pest control. If you've ever opened a bag of flour or rice and found tiny bugs crawling around inside, you already know how frustrating pantry pests can be. Weevils, grain beetles, flour moths, they get into sealed packaging and spread fast. What most people do is throw everything out and buy new stuff, and then it happens again. What actually works is putting a small amount of food-grade diatomaceous earth directly into your dry goods, your flour, your rice, your oats, before you store them. About 1 teaspoon per pound is enough. It doesn't change the taste, it doesn't change the texture, and it kills the bugs by damaging their outer shell so they can't survive. The specialty pantry pest sprays you see at the hardware store run anywhere from $8 to $15 a bottle. A whole bag of diatomaceous earth costs around the same amount and will last you years. Benefit number 16, silverfish and earwig repellent. Silverfish are one of those bugs that nobody talks about until they find one in their bathroom at 2 in the morning. Earwigs are right there with them, creepy, fast, and showing up in places they have no business being. Both of them love moisture, which is why you find them in bathrooms, basements, and laundry rooms. Sprinkle a thin line of food-grade diatomaceous earth along baseboards, behind toilets, under sinks, and around window frames in those rooms. It doesn't repel them exactly. It kills them when they walk through it because the microscopic sharp particles tear through their exoskeleton. They dry out and don't come back. No chemical spray, no exterminator, just a line of powder that costs pennies to lay down. Benefit number 15, odor absorber for trash cans and refrigerators. This one doesn't get nearly enough attention. Diatomaceous earth is extremely porous, which means it absorbs moisture and the bacteria that causes odors along with it. Sprinkle a small amount in the bottom of your trash can before you put the bag in. It pulls in the liquid that pools at the bottom and cuts down on that smell significantly. It works the same way in a refrigerator. A small open dish of food-grade diatomaceous earth sitting on a shelf does basically what a box of baking soda does, but it tends to hold up longer. Baking soda needs to be replaced every 30 days. Diatomaceous earth can go much longer before it's saturated and needs a refresh. Benefit number 14, shoe deodorizer. This one is almost embarrassingly simple. Sprinkle a small amount into your shoes at the end of the day. Shake them gently so it coats the inside, and leave them overnight. It draws out the moisture that causes odor before it has a chance to build up. Dump it out in the morning or just leave a tiny bit in. It won't hurt the shoe and it won't irritate your skin. Shoe deodorizing sprays and powders sit at about $6 to $10 a can. A bag of food-grade diatomaceous earth runs around $10 to $15, and you'll use a fraction of it per shoe per treatment. The math is the math. Benefit number 13, carpet and floor flea treatment. If you have pets, this one is worth paying close attention to. Fleas don't just live on your animals. They live in your carpet, your rugs, your furniture, and your floors. That's why treating only the pet never fully solves the problem. Sprinkle food-grade diatomaceous earth generously over your carpets and rugs, work it in gently with a broom, and leave it for at least 12 to 24 hours, longer if you can manage it. Then vacuum it up thoroughly. It works by dehydrating flea eggs, larvae, and adults that are living in the fibers. A single professional flea treatment for your home can run anywhere from $200 to $500. Diatomaceous earth costs a fraction of that, and you can repeat it as often as you need to without any toxic chemicals in your home. That's 13 through 17, and we haven't even gotten to the garden yet, or the uses that are going to make you look at your pet care routine completely differently. Those are coming up right after this. Okay, we're moving into the garden and some uses that are going to completely change how you think about chemical pest control, because diatomaceous earth outdoors is where a lot of the real money starts showing up. Benefit number 12, pool filter media. This one comes with a very important warning, so pay attention. There is a type of diatomaceous earth called filter grade, also called calcined diatomaceous earth, that is specifically designed for swimming pool filtration systems. It is not food grade. It has been heat treated, which changes its chemical structure and makes it dangerous to breathe and unsafe around people and animals. So why is it on this list? Because if you have a pool with a DE filter, you're probably buying branded filter powder at $15 to $30 a bag without realizing that diatomaceous earth is literally what's inside that packaging. Knowing the difference between the two types saves you money on the pool side and keeps you from ever accidentally grabbing the wrong bag for the other uses on this list. Always read the label. Food grade for the home. Filter grade stays at the pool, handled carefully. Benefit number 11, garden slug and snail barrier. Slugs and snails are one of the most frustrating garden pests because they do most of their damage overnight, and they are incredibly hard to catch in the act. You walk out in the morning and your lettuce looks like something took a hole punch to every single leaf. Sprinkle a ring of food-grade diatomaceous earth around the base of your plants, around the perimeter of your raised beds, or along the soil line of anything you're trying to protect. Slugs and snails have soft, moist bodies, and diatomaceous earth destroys that moisture barrier on contact. They won't cross it. The one thing to know is that it needs to be reapplied after rain or heavy watering because wet DE loses its effectiveness until it dries out again. A bag covers a lot of ground and costs a fraction of what slug bait or copper tape runs at the garden center. Benefit number 10. Ant control without chemicals. Ants are one of those problems where people jump straight to sprays and bait traps, most of which are loaded with chemicals you probably don't want near kids or pets or your vegetable garden. Diatomaceous earth handles ants the same way it handles every other insect with an exoskeleton. It damages the outer shell and they dehydrate. Spread it around the perimeter of your home, along ant trails you've spotted, around the base of outdoor plants they're farming for aphids, and directly into ant hills if you can find them. It's not instant. This isn't a spray that kills on contact, but within a few days you'll see a serious reduction. And unlike chemical sprays, you can use this in your vegetable garden without worrying about what you're putting into the soil your food is growing in. I switched to this a few summers ago, and I haven't bought an ant spray since. Benefit number 9, soil aeration for potted plants. This one surprises people because it has nothing to do with pest control. Diatomaceous earth mixed into potting soil improves drainage and aeration in a way that helps plant roots breathe and keeps the soil from compacting over time. It holds moisture without becoming waterlogged, which is the exact balance that most houseplants and container gardens need. Mix about 10% diatomaceous earth into your potting mix when you're repotting. It's particularly good for succulents, cacti, and any plant that tends to suffer from overwatering or root rot. Specialty horticultural additives like perlite and pumice do a similar job but can run $3 to $5 per small bag. A large bag of food-grade diatomaceous earth does double and triple duty, soil amendment, pest control, and more, for the same price or less. Benefit number 8, stored grain protection. This one is especially useful if you buy in bulk, which is one of the best ways to save money on staples like rice, oats, corn, wheat berries, or dried beans. The problem with bulk dry goods is storage, because grain weevils and other pantry pests love nothing more than a big undisturbed bag sitting in a warm pantry. Mix food-grade diatomaceous earth directly into your stored grains at a rate of roughly 1 cup per 50 pounds of grain. It coats the grains without affecting flavor, nutritional value, or how they cook. Farmers have used this method for generations to protect grain stores without pesticides. If you're spending $30, $40, $50 on a large bag of rice or oats, protecting that investment with a product that costs pennies per use is one of the easiest financial decisions you'll make all week. All right, we are right at the halfway point, and I want to ask you something. Which one of these has surprised you the most so far? Drop it in the comments. I'm genuinely curious because the ones that catch people off guard are different every time I ask. Now stay with me because the next section gets personal. We're talking about your skin, your pets, and a couple of uses inside your home that the pest control industry would very much prefer you didn't know about. Those are coming up next. So we've covered the pantry, the garden, and the garage. Now we're getting into the ones that are going to change how you handle your skin routine, your pet care, and some of the most stubborn pest problems inside your home. And these are the ones where the specialty product industry has been quietly making a lot of money off of you. Benefit number 7, facial scrub and detox mask. This one catches people off guard every single time. Food-grade diatomaceous earth is fine enough to use on your skin, and because of its silica content and absorbency, it works as both a gentle physical exfoliant and a drawing agent that pulls excess oil and impurities out of your pores. Mix a small amount, about half a teaspoon, with water or your regular cleanser to make a paste. Apply it to your face, leave it for 2 to 3 minutes, then rinse thoroughly. Your skin feels noticeably smoother and less oily after the first use. Now compare that to what you're spending on a branded clay mask or exfoliating scrub. Those run anywhere from $12 to $30 for a small jar. Food-grade diatomaceous earth costs about the same for a bag that will last you an entire year of weekly treatments. That's real savings hiding in plain sight. Benefit number 6, natural toothpaste additive. This one sounds strange at first, but stay with me. Diatomaceous earth has been used as a mild abrasive in dental care for a long time. It's fine enough not to damage enamel, but gritty enough to help scrub away surface stains and plaque more effectively than standard toothpaste alone. Dip a wet toothbrush into a tiny pinch of food-grade diatomaceous earth and brush normally, or mix it into your existing toothpaste. You don't need much. A pinch the size of a pea is plenty. Some people use it as a full replacement for toothpaste a few times a week. Whitening toothpastes and charcoal dental powders marketed for the same purpose run $6 to $15 per tube or jar. This costs a fraction of that per use, and the ingredient list is exactly 1 item long. Benefit number 5, bedbug treatment. Bedbugs are one of the most expensive pest problems a homeowner can face. Professional treatment can cost anywhere from $300 to over $1,000 depending on the severity, and it often requires multiple visits. Diatomaceous earth doesn't eliminate a severe infestation on its own, but it is one of the most effective tools for controlling and preventing them without chemicals, and pest control companies are not rushing to advertise that fact. Apply food-grade diatomaceous earth along baseboards, inside box spring seams, along the edges of your mattress, behind headboards, and around any furniture legs near the bed. Leave it undisturbed for several days. It kills bed bugs by the same mechanism as every other insect, dehydration through exoskeleton damage. Used consistently as part of a broader treatment plan, it cuts down on the population significantly and keeps working as long as it stays dry. I've heard from people who've avoided a full professional treatment entirely by being thorough with this approach. Benefit number 4, tick and flea control on pets. Now this one requires a specific and important note, food-grade diatomaceous earth only. And you want to be careful about how you apply it because the fine powder can irritate lungs if inhaled in large amounts, yours and your pet's. The right way to do it is to rub a small amount into your pet's coat, working it down to the skin while keeping it away from their face. Do this outdoors or in a well-ventilated space. It kills fleas and ticks by contact the same way it works on carpet. It damages the exoskeleton and the bug dies within a day or two. Monthly flea and tick treatments from the vet or the pet store run anywhere from $15 to $60 depending on the size of your pet and the brand. This costs almost nothing per treatment. One thing to know though, it washes out when you bathe your pet, so you'll need to reapply after bath time. Benefit number 3, chicken coop mite control. If you keep backyard chickens, you already know that mites are one of the most persistent and damaging problems you'll deal with. They live in the bedding, in the cracks of the coop walls, and on the birds themselves. Left unchecked, they stress the flock, reduce egg production, and can make birds genuinely sick. Dust the inside of your coop generously with food-grade diatomaceous earth. The bedding, the nesting boxes, the roosts, and the corners where mites hide during the day. A lot of chicken keepers also add it directly to their flock's dust bathing area so the birds treat themselves naturally. Chemical mite treatments for poultry can get expensive fast, especially if you have a larger flock. Diatomaceous earth handles the same problem for pennies per application, and it's safe for the birds when used as directed. Benefit number 2, furniture and mattress treatment. Your mattress, your couch, your upholstered chairs. They all harbor dust mites, and if anyone in your household deals with allergies or asthma, this matters more than you might think. Dust mites are microscopic and they live in fabric surfaces by the thousands. You can't see them, but they are absolutely there. Lightly dust food-grade diatomaceous earth over your mattress. Let it sit for several hours. Overnight is better. Then vacuum it up thoroughly with an upholstery attachment. Do the same with your couch cushions. It kills dust mites on contact and leaves nothing behind once it's vacuumed. Supplement companies are selling silica capsules and gut cleanse formulas for $20, $30, sometimes $50 a bottle. This does the same job for a cost that's barely worth calculating. Before we get to number 1, and I want to be upfront, this last one genuinely surprised me when I first came across it. If this kind of content is useful to you, the subscribe button is right there. Practical, no-nonsense ways to get more out of what you already own. That's what this channel is built around. Go ahead and hit it so you don't miss what's coming next. Because number 1 is the use that supplement companies are absolutely not going to tell you about. And once you hear it, you'll understand exactly why. All right, number 1. And I want to set this up properly because this is the use that genuinely stopped me in my tracks the first time I read about it. And it's also the one where the industry angle is the clearest and most frustrating. Benefit number 1, internal use and digestive health. Food-grade diatomaceous earth can be consumed. That's the part people don't expect. And before you close the tab, hear me out, because this is not some fringe wellness trend. This has been studied, it has a long history of safe use, and the food-grade designation exists specifically because it was approved for human and animal consumption by the FDA. What it does internally comes down to its physical structure. Diatomaceous earth is made up of the fossilized remains of tiny aquatic organisms called diatoms. Under a microscope, those particles look like hollow cylinders with rough, jagged edges. When you consume food-grade diatomaceous earth, those particles move through your digestive tract and act like a very fine scrubbing brush, picking up bacteria, heavy metals, parasites, and other debris along the way and pulling it out of your system. It doesn't get absorbed into your bloodstream. It passes through and takes a lot of unwanted material with it. The silica content is the other piece of this. Silica is a mineral your body uses to maintain healthy hair, skin, nails, and joints. Most people aren't getting nearly enough of it from diet alone. Food-grade diatomaceous earth is roughly 80 to 90% silica, which makes it one of the most concentrated natural sources available anywhere. Now here's the part that made me genuinely annoyed when I figured it out. Supplement companies are selling silica capsules and gut cleanse formulas for $20, $30, sometimes $50 a bottle. The active ingredient in a significant number of those products is diatomaceous earth, sometimes listed under its scientific name, sometimes just as silica or fossil shell flour. The bag you can buy at your local farm supply store or online runs about $12 to $20 for several pounds and will last months at the doses used for internal consumption. The standard approach is 1 teaspoon stirred into a full glass of water taken once a day, ideally on an empty stomach. Some people work up to 1 tablespoon over time. It has almost no taste, slightly chalky at most, and it mixes easily. The key is making sure you're drinking plenty of water throughout the day because of how it moves through your system. People who use it consistently report improvements in digestion, more regular bowel movements, stronger nails, better skin texture, and reduced joint discomfort over time. Now, I'm not a doctor and I'm not making any medical claims here. What I'm telling you is what the research shows and what people who use it regularly report. If you have any health conditions or you're on medication, check with your doctor first. That's just common sense. But the idea that you could be paying $30 a month for a supplement that is, at its core, the same thing as a $12 bag that also handles your pantry pests, your pet's fleas, your garden slugs, and your mattress dust mites, that right there is exactly the kind of thing nobody tells you and everybody should know. So that's 17 uses for one of the most underrated products sitting in homes and farm stores across the country. And the one that gets me every time is that last one. Not because it's the most dramatic, but because the markup is so brazen once you know what you're actually looking at. Now I want to hear from you. Which one of these are you going to put to work first? Or maybe there's a use you already know about that didn't make the list. Drop it in the comments because I genuinely want to know, and so does everyone else watching. If you want to keep going down this road, search this channel for the borax video. It follows the same idea. One cheap product, a ridiculous number of uses, and a few places where the industry has been making serious money off of people not knowing any better. You'll want to see that one. Go save some money. Talk soon.